call me a bastard because I'm a child born out of wedlock. Not really, though.
Alright, greetings, goodly goobers. Now, I'm someone who considers himself a gamer. I'm not a very good gamer, but I'm a gamer nonetheless. And one game series that I've been playing recently is Assassin's Creed. I'm going through them in historical timeline order right now, so we're starting with Odyssey. It's a fairly fun game with a cool world to explore, but it got me thinking. You know what else is a cool game series that takes place in the Greek world? God of War. What can be said about God of War that hasn't been said already? Easily one of the most renowned video game franchises from the early 2000s to ever exist. Now, for any of you who've been living under a rock for the past 20 years, God of War features Spartan warrior Kratos in a quest to avenge the death of his wife and child, and later his quest to find redemption for his sins. In total, there have been 8 God of War games. 2 have reached PlayStation consoles since 2005. For the PS2 games, we have 2005's God of War and 2007's God of War 2. For the PS3, we have 2008's God of War Chains of Olympus and 2010's God of War Coast of Sparta. The PS3 gave us 2010's God of War 3 and 2013's God of War Ascension. Finally, on the PS4 we have 2018's God of War and 2022's God of War Ragnarok. And it's this era of God of War games that we'll be talking about in this video. When God of War 2018 first came out, the series was in a bit of a dead state. God of War 3 was, and still is today, the pinnacle of the Greek saga. It was the epic conclusion of a 5-year saga in which we saw Kratos finally avenge his family after being pawned and betrayed by the gods of Olympus for years. These days, the game is considered in the top 3 for best God of War games ever. The problem with that is, though, is that once you've reached the top, the only real place you can go is bottom. And while Ghost of Sparta fared well post-3, Ascension is where the cracks started showing. The game is considered a black sheep in the series, with fans considering it the weakest of all the games put together. Now, I haven't played enough of the game to gain a fully formed opinion, but I can sort of understand why people say that it is the weakest. The biggest complaint that people seem to have is with the writing, specifically the Furies as a villain. People say that out of all the main villains, the Furies seem to have the least weight to them, which, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, when your rogues gallery features characters like Baldur, Odin, and the entire Greek pantheon, yeah, you're gonna look a little weak in comparison, considering you're cosplaying as Maleficent, Raven from Teen Titans, and whatever the fuck Megara is. As a result, Ascension was the least successful, and the series was unofficially declared dead. Until 2018, that is.
Pretend to be everything you are not. Teacher, husband, father. But there is one unavoidable truth you will never escape. You cannot change. You will always be a monster.
I know. But I am your monster no longer.
Released on April 20th, 2018, God of War, also colloquially known as God of War 2018, changed the landscape to the series, trading the ultra-violent hack-and-slash mechanics of the Greek saga for more traditional story-driven action-adventure mechanics. Alongside that, we're in a new world! Since Greece was destroyed in God of War 3, we're now in Midgard of the 9 realms from Norse mythology. And it is here that we're actually going to be talking about the video topic. We're going to be talking about this guy. Yeah, you heard me right. Him. We're talking about Modi Thorson. So Modi is a character who's used as an Aesir punching bag a lot in this game, and I mean, I just can't help but laugh at it, if I'm being honest. But it did get me wondering, why is it that he catches the strays that he does? Well, that's what we're going to find out. We're going to be doing a deep dive into Modi's character in the God of War universe. Mostly God of War 2018, because that's the only game he appears in. Spoiler alert! But how this video is going to work is we're going to go through his whole appearance in said game and analyze all of his scenes, as well as any lore that might have taken place prior to the events of God of War 2018, using the God of War wiki as a reference. I also want to make it perfectly clear before we start, this is all my opinion. So if you disagree with me or just want to say that I suck ass, put a comment down below. And also be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing a lot more videos like this. Now let's get into the video. Now the first time we ever see or meet Modi in God of War 2018 is at the summit of the mountain in Midgard, where the gate to Jotunheim and Mimir's tree is. In this scene, while we can vaguely see him while climbing the summit, Baldur and his nephews Magni and Modi are interrogating an imprisoned Mimir about the whereabouts of Kratos, whom Baldur mistakes for a Jotnar giant.
Must be important if the sons of Thor deign to grace me with their presence. Tell me, you two still tripping over yourselves to impress Daddy?
The tattooed man. Tracks show he now travels with a child. Where would they go next?
Why would I know that?
You're the smartest man alive, aren't you?
Smarter than all the dead ones, too.
You help me, I help you. Tell me where they are, and I'll talk to Odin.
Your father won't let me go, Baldur, and he won't let you kill me. You have nothing to offer me, so take your questions, take your threats, take these two worthless wankers, and piss off!
When no one's looking, we'll be back for your other eye.
Don't you forget, we're everywhere.
We really are, aren't we?
Now while we don't see much of Modi in this scene, we do see quite a bit of dynamic between the three Aesir. Baldur is the smart one, and the sons of Thor are the muscle of this trio of yes-men for the Allfather. It's a very minute and insignificant moment in the grand scheme of the game, but it's something that I personally find rather humorous. It's a very 1990s era Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady type of dynamic. You got the one ringleader of the group, and then you got his two little meat-headed henchmen who just don't really do anything, that are mainly just, you know, comic relief, and you just wait around to see them get beat up by the heroes. But that's not important though, because the next time we see Modi is where we actually get into the main meat of our analysis. The corpse of Thormor. As we approach Thormor's chisel, we hear the brothers destroying parts of the frozen landscape, searching for Kratos and Atreus. And it's actually here, during this little dialogue sequence, that we learn a little bit more about Modi and his relationship with his brother. Let's take a listen, shall we?
So you will stop talking, focus, and help me find them. You can't disappoint father. Oh, smack you, boy. No, we cannot disappoint father. Now keep looking.
Notice that little twinge of sarcasm and malice in Modi's voice. At surface level, it doesn't really mean anything, until we look at the God of War wiki. According to the wiki, Modi was another son that his father Thor sired before his marriage to Sif. He was also shadowed a lot by his half-brother Magni. The wiki tells us that both sons of Thor aided their father after he found himself stuck under a freshly killed Hrungnir. And in spite of them both helping their father when they were about a shrub's height, Magni was the only one who received praise because he was the first one spotted by Mimir, who was the only one in Odin's court who witnessed the event. It also didn't help that after that event, Magni was favored by basically everyone in Asgard, including his father. And here is where we're going to see the results of Thor's biased parenthood. But in order to talk about this, we'll need two things: a stage mapping diagram and a green screen. Luckily, we have both. Now, if you're a theater nerd, you probably already know this shit, but for those of you who don't, you might notice that this looks a little backwards. This is because stages are mapped as if you are facing the audience, or the house. So if you're facing the stage from the house, that means left is right and right is left. It's like the political parties before the Civil Rights Act. Now with that out of the way, we can talk about the fight. We'll first talk about Magni and Modi's entrances before we get into the actual fight itself. We'll start with Magni's first. The reason why stage plotting is so important in this context is because it tells us a lot about the personalities of the Sons of Thor without telling us anything about the characters. So let's take a look at Magni's entrance.
Hurry, brother. We may get a piece of the chisel and be gone before they even notice. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Boy.
Surrender. The Allfather demands it.
No.
Good.
This is one of the best examples of show don't tell in a video game that I've ever seen. Magni comes slamming down center stage on top of an ogre and snaps its neck within 5 seconds of landing and just throws it aside like a badass. This looks like it could be a WWE entrance in the 2000s. Now, comparatively, here's Modi's entrance.
This fight is mine, boy. Go.
And where do you think you're going? Oh no, brother. The little freak's got a bow. What are we gonna do?
There's a couple ways we could describe this entrance. Underwhelming, lacking flair. But the word I'm going to use is inferior. Returning to the wiki, growing up, Magni would be regarded as Thor's favorite son, while Modi would simply be regarded as nothing more than Thor's second son and Magni's brother alone. In addition, due to Thor's favoritism of Magni, Modi was treated as little more than a lesser son by his father, causing him to develop an inferiority complex from living in Magni's shadow. Once again, this inadvertently shows us how Modi sees himself compared to his brother. There is no aura to his entrance. All it is just a drop down, just a taunt and threaten a child. It's the perfect I'm here too entrance. So much so that I don't even want to talk about it. So I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to talk about the way they stand right before they attack. To the green screen! Look at the stances on these gods right before they go in for the attack. Look at Magni, standing tall and proud with his chest puffed out, arms and his shoulders exposed. Bro's looking like a Texas Day Brazil with all that meat hanging out. And look at the way he is holding his sword. You know, for most people, that sword would be held up frontwards like this with two hands. Meanwhile, he's holding it with one hand backwards like he's fucking Starkiller from The Force Unleashed. And then meanwhile, here's Modi. He's got more armor in his arms. His stance suggests that his chest is curled in a little bit to put some force behind that shield. We'll get to that in a minute. And his legs are spread out a bit more, as if he's anticipating a hit, and he's planting his feet on the ground, bracing himself. He's also wielding a mace, which is a blunt weapon, implying that he's trying to be a little bit more like his father. But by the way, that shield's not for show. We're going to explain that in a little bit, though. But first, I want to also talk about something that's a little bit unorthodox, but I want you to hear me out on this for a second. Let's talk about their hairstyles and facial expressions, starting with Magni. Outside of the long braids, his hair for the most part is cut short, and his beard is cut in a way that you can see more of his facial features, most notably his cheekbones. And meanwhile, look at Modi. As you can see, his hair is long and disheveled, and his beard is full and covering up most of his face. Now this can imply two things. Number one, his inferiority complex is so bad that he's actually making an attempt to hide his face because he's so ashamed of himself. Or number two, which is more likely, he's desperately trying to cosplay as his father. This would make sense considering everything we know about Modi thus far. Continuing the needless pedantic analysis, we'll be looking at their facial expressions, starting with Modi. We see the exact opposite type of expression one would expect from someone who just hurled some crappy insults at a child. He's got a very angry expression with little hints of uncertainty into his face. Compare that to Magni. He looks like he's grinning. He looks like the most confident person in the world. When he walks into a mead hall, the staff don't ask him, hey, do you want a drink? They ask him how many drinks you want. I bring this up because it shows a real dichotomy between these two brothers, and it also shows two different types of cockiness that they have. There's an old saying about cocky people in that it's not cocky if you back it up. If you hype yourself up and you have the skills to back it up, then you're not cocky. You're just a douche. But if you can't back up what you're saying and then all you have is shit talk, well then you're both cocky and a douche. But the way these two show their cockiness varies from brother to brother. Magni has all of these accolades and is the golden-born first child of the mightiest Aesir in all the 9 realms. He shows his cockiness through actions. We see it so in his entrance. He believes that just because we saw him kill an ogre and toss it aside that we'll bow down no problem. And he's even happy when Kratos turns down his order of surrender. Now, to be fair, we as a player already know that Magni is making a mistake because we know what Kratos is capable of. You could say he's only cocky due to perception, but I disagree with that completely because what you have to remember is that Magni already knows that Kratos went toe-to-toe with Baldur and survived. So Magni really doesn't have any excuse, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, Modi can't back anything up. He just hides behind his shield and shit talks to Atreus. And he does that so many fucking times during the fight. Speaking of the fight, remember how I said Modi's shield was not just for show? Well, to speak in Dungeons & Dragons terms, Modi has a higher armor class because he has a low constitution score. He's not a big fan of democracy. That's fucking stupid. stupid. I guess to quickly explain what I mean, Constitution is what gives your character in D&D their health points. See, when you attack Modi, his health bar drops farther compared to Magni. Now, nothing too big of importance in terms of character understanding happens during the fight, but I would like to point out this one line from Modi that I did find funny.
Why do you hunt us? What does Odin want?
Oh, no, don't care. Come here, half-breed. You don't know what that is.
The only reason that I really find this funny is because technically he and Magni are half-breeds too. They both have Aesir and giant blood in them. Hell, Magni is more giant than he is Aesir. His birth mother was the giant Yarnsaxa. I'm probably pronouncing that very wrong, so I do apologize to any northeastern European people who may be watching this. I'm just an ignorant American boy, you're just gonna have to deal with that. But I just find it funny that Modi would call Atreus a half-breed as an insult, even though he is also one in the technical sense of the term. It's like Voldemort hating half-blood wizards, or J.K. Rowling hating women. It should also be worth noting that essentially for the entire fight, most of Modi's lines are just made at the expense of Atreus, trying to rile him up. This could be interpreted as him just being a bully for his own sadistic entertainment, but I personally see this as jealousy. With everything we know about Modi and how his home life was, it wouldn't be out of the blue for him to see someone like Kratos, whom, in spite of his own flaws, actually does love and care about his son, and lash out against that. Modi knows that Thor will never be proud of him, so as a result, he's determined to make everybody else as miserable as he is. Hell, he probably sees Odin as a better father than Thor, because at least he's upfront and honest about how he sees Modi.
Now, what you did to his boys. Self-defense. Dying is what we Aesir live for. And let's be honest, they were kinda useless.
Eat shit and die.
As the fight goes on, we see Modi's insults get more and more personal, eventually targeting Atreus' mother, Faye, and Atreus gets angrier and angrier.
Your mother ugly or something. She cut up your face and you do that.
Don't talk about my mother!
Don't talk about my mommy.
Don't listen to him, lad. He's trying to rile you up.
Mom's not me. Too early to let you suck on them.
Shut up, you bastard!
Mother must have been some war to play with the likes of him.
I'll kill you!
Now look, I have been very kind to Modi up until this point. But I will say it right here. Too far, buddy. Too far. I don't care how poorly you were treated by your dad, or how jealous you are of your brother. You never make those comments about somebody else's mother. Especially a child. Also, you're way too old to be saying shit like that, man. You are literally hundreds of years old. You and your brother fought in the Aesir-Vanir War and killed Nerthus. Bro thinks he's such a big shot for bullying an actual child. Well, thankfully, though, he gets a big, healthy dose of reality when this happens.
You have no idea. You son of a bitch!
Ironic how the Aesir god of courage runs away like a coward. Oh, this isn't the last we'll see of Modi, don't you worry. The next time we see Modi is inside Tyr's temple. As Atreus is teaching Kratos how to read, he smells something.
Some gods, some animals.
Wait.
Some... Oh, am I going too fast? Sorry.
Not that. You smell something.
Yeah, I do. Smells like... rain?
You ruined everything. I earned that fucking hammer. But now, everyone's gonna think I only got it because Magni's gone. It'll be a joke. But if I kill you, no one's gonna laugh at me.
There's that fucking aura.
Bro saw his brother die in front of him, and he is angry. But is he really angry? Let's take a look. But this time, I want you all to listen very carefully to the words he is saying and how he is saying them.
You ruined everything. fucking hammer. But now, everyone's gonna think I only got it because Magni's gone. It'll be a joke. But if I kill you, no one's gonna laugh at me.
To me, this doesn't read anger. To me, this reads like fear. Obviously, we don't know exactly what he did to earn that fucking hammer. We do know that Magni was favored by basically everyone in Asgard. Well, except, of course.
Self-defense. Dying is what we Aesir live for. And let's be honest, they were kinda useless.
The Allfather was the only one who loved them equally. He didn't. As Atreus tries to save his father, Modi continues the childish taunts.
Oh, are you dumb? That your father's doing? Or did you get it from your mum? She's stupid and ugly.
Shut up! You don't know anything about my mother.
Oh, it's true. But I'm gonna get to know you really well. You're gonna be my new brother.
Perdón es mois? I can't help but get a little creeped over that. Would you excuse me real quick? I'll make a quick call real quick. Yes, hello? Is this Chris Hansen? Uh-huh. Does he deal in Aesir by any chance? And then this happens.
Right after I finish killing your father! Whoops. I think I broke him.
You're not making a case for yourself, man.
No. Stay back.
Whatever's coming to you, you deserve it. Oh, I bet that hurt.
This isn't over.
Once again, the god of courage runs away in fear, and this time crying like a child. Not a whole lot I can really say to paint him as a sympathetic character. It certainly won't be any easier the next time we see him. The third and final time we see Modi is back at the mountain, and at this point in the story, Atreus has learned that he is a god. That's an important part of this scene, and I'll explain why in a minute. So in between the ambush at Tyr's temple and here at the mountain, Modi fled to Asgard to tell of Magni's death. In response, his father Thor reacted the way all good fathers would, by beating the shit out of him. See, Thor thought Modi fled and left Magni to bleed out at Thalmor's corpse, when in reality we saw Kratos plant that axe straight into his face. I don't think it takes a genius to know that a hit like that is an instant death. I mean, that axe is going straight into your brain. You ain't getting out of that shit unless you're Jason Voorhees.
Me? For what you did to Magni. My own father called me a coward.
Looks like he did more than that. Move it, or we'll pick up where he left off.
I'll kill you.
As you can see, Modi is much less shit-talkative. Now granted, he's got about 103 broken bones, 52 bludgeoning marks, 26 lacerations, and a bruised ego. Nobody would be that talkative. Kratos wants to be the bigger man and leave Modi where he is, but Atreus thinks otherwise.
He should pay for what he said about Mother.
I said no.
But we're gods. We can do whatever we want.
That's what I said to your mother, right before I gave it to her.
Famous last words, buddy. And with that final joke, Modi is stabbed and kicked off the edge. Fella left Midgard as he entered it. Inferior. Well, at least he can't be disrespected any more than he already has. Right? Well, to quote the engineer from TF2...
Nope!
We're moving on to God of War Ragnarok. I've already mentioned Odin's loving words about both his grandkids. calling their deaths self-defense and saying they were useless. I mean, the way Odin talks about their deaths, as well as Baldur's when you think about it, is akin to you stubbing your toe and going, "Ah, shit." This motherfucker could not care less about what happened to Modi. He only cared about what he and Magni could do for him, rather than seeing them for who they were as individuals. It's like how Trump sees MAGA as a whole. But that's not important right now. When Kratos refuses Odin's offer for peace, he sends Thor to collect what are called blood payments for his family. Here's the thing about those blood payments, though. Magni and Modi are placed after Baldur, especially Modi, and Kratos rightfully calls him out for it and placed Modi's death on him.
This is for Modi! You put him last, even in death. The fuck you say? Modi sought us in fear of you. He died of the wounds you gave him. Oh, we got a model father here.
Now, I would like to point out that technically, Modi died of Atreus' hubris and his own big mouth. Granted, his wounds, which were caused by Thor, didn't help, but I digress. It should also be worth noting that Thor didn't outright deny it, he just went straight to personal attacks. Yeah, I emotionally neglected my son and beat him within an inch of his life, but you killed your first family. Which, by the way, doesn't make you right in this instance, Thor. But you think that's bad, though? Oh, wait till you hear this shit. Much later into the game, Atreus finds himself in Asgard, aiding Odin with something, when we're introduced to yet another child of Thor.
Whoa! Loki, right? Gotta say, the irony of this isn't lost on me. This was his room, you know?
His?
My brother's.
Your brother?
Modi?
Ah, your brother. Really? I had no idea.
Uh-huh. And now it's yours. Enjoy. Thor's. Relax. You've got some pretty small shoes to fill. We're better off without him, Loki.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Even Thrud favored Magni, at least that's the implication I get. Frodo, if I died and my brother, or anyone really, was saying shit like this, I am killing myself for a second time. I'm figuring out how to jumpstart that final death shit from Coco, and I am exiting this spirit coil. I think you get it at this point. Modi was never told I'm proud of you and all that shit. But me being me and being the foolish, pedantic fuck that I am, I had to dig deeper. There had to be a reason why Modi, of all the gods, was getting it this rough by the writers. God of War has always taken creative liberties with ancient myths and legends, but they're written in ways that make sense for the world. In the old myths, the Greek gods were not good people, especially Zeus, so it makes sense for the main antagonists in the Greek saga to be the gods of Olympus. But as someone who's not as familiar with the old Norse tales, it didn't make sense to me. What was it about Modi that attracted the devs to make him like this? Well, after doing some research, I found out it was nothing. Actually nothing. My initial plan was to compare and contrast the accomplishments of both versions of Modi. However, in my research, I found a website called vikingar.org. I think that might be a typo. But according to the website, Modi doesn't have many mentions outside of one in the Poetic Edda, in which he and Magni both survive Ragnarok and have joint custody of Mjolnir after Thor dies to the World Serpent. Also, remember how I said both kids saved Thor from Hrungnir? Yeah, in the old text, it was just Magni who did that. Now, granted, Magni isn't mentioned much in the old text either, but it is still sad to see this kind of unnecessary disrespect, people. I'm not denying that Modi was a good person, and I never will, but everything that he went through to become the man he is when you face him at Thalmor's corpse is something no one should go through. And his death remains a cautionary reminder of the dangers of emotional neglect, parental abuse, and yo mama jokes. Granted, there was some good to come from his passing, namely it convinced Thor and Sif to quit drinking, not just for their sake, but for the sake of their daughter Thrud. It also made them realize that the real person responsible for their children's death was Odin. As messed up as it is to say, but Modi's death did serve a noble cause in the long run when you think about it. Odin probably wouldn't have been defeated if Modi never died. It is, however, still a shame that this is the way it had to be. But, as is a recurring theme in God of War, you can't break fate, and you can't defy prophecy. The only thing you can do is delay the inevitable. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I actually had a lot of fun making this video. If you did enjoy it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're notified whenever I upload, because I want this to go on for a long, long time. Also, make sure to check out my socials, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok, all of which will be linked in the description of this video. And, yeah, thank you again for watching, and as the old saying goes, goodbye, good luck, and get the freak out of here!